Real power is when you feel everything but react to nothing. It sounds simple, but it is one of the hardest skills a human can learn. Every day, something tries to pull you out of yourself. A message you didn't expect, a tone that felt disrespectful, a moment that hit the wrong nerve. And suddenly, your entire mood changes. A single spark turns into a storm inside your mind. You know this feeling, the tightness in your chest, the rush of heat in your face, the urge to defend, argue, explain, attack, or escape. It happens fast, too fast. And sometimes, you don't even realize what you've given away until it's over. That's the hidden cost of reacting. You hand your power to whatever provoked you. But here's the truth most people never learn. You don't need to stop feeling. You need to stop letting every feeling become action. Control doesn't mean being numb. Control means staying awake inside the moment where most people lose themselves. Losing yourself is easy. Keeping yourself is mastery. And that's what these next 90 minutes are about. Not motivation, not positivity, not ignoring your emotions, but learning the rare, quiet skill of leading them. Because when you can control your reactions, you control the direction of your day. When you control the direction of your day, you control the shape of your life. For the next 90 minutes, we are going to walk through 10 emotional skills that most people never train. 10 skills that separate those who are constantly drained from those who move through life with clarity, calm, and inner authority. Each chapter gives you one tool, one practice, one principle you can use in real situations, at work, at home, in conflict, in stress, in silence, and in chaos. This isn't about becoming perfect, it's about becoming intentional. By the end, you'll know how to pause before you react, how to see your emotion without obeying it, how to sit with discomfort without letting it rule you, how to choose responses that protect your peace instead of feeding the storm. This is emotional leadership. Quiet, steady, strong. Stop reacting. Start leading your mind. Because the moment you learn to pause, your life begins to move in a different direction. Chapter 1. Face the urge to react. You know the moment, the shift, the spark. The instant your body feels something before your mind understands it. It happens fast. Faster than logic, faster than your intentions, faster than the person you want to be. One message appears with the wrong tone. Someone interrupts you. A comment lands harder than it should. A look feels dismissive. And suddenly, your entire inner world surges forward as if a switch flipped inside your chest. Most people don't realize how often this moment shapes their day. They think they're responding to the situation, but they're actually responding to the feeling the situation wakes up. That feeling rises like a wave, sharp, immediate, unfiltered. It rushes through your nervous system before your awareness even arrives. And because it happens so quickly, you mistake it for truth, for instruction, for something that must be acted on right now. That's how you lose control without noticing. That's how 1 second takes your peace and turns it into fire. You've lived this. Everyone has. But very few people ever learn to face that first emotional surge instead of obeying it. American life moves at a speed that leaves almost no room to breathe. Notifications, deadlines, expectations, misunderstandings, the pressure to answer instantly. These forces condition you to react before you think. You are trained to move quickly, decide quickly, respond quickly, and without noticing it, you begin to sacrifice emotional clarity just to keep up with the pace around you. But there's a truth no one taught you when you were growing up. The first feeling is real, but it is not a command. Read that again. Let it hit. Because if you understand that one sentence, everything in this chapter becomes easier. Your first feeling is information, not instruction. It is a signal, not an order. It tells you something about what's happening inside you, not what you should do next. And once you separate those two things, you begin to step into a different kind of power. A calm, steady, inner authority that doesn't disappear when life pushes you. Imagine you're standing at the edge of the ocean. A wave rises suddenly and crashes toward you. If you fight it, it knocks you down. If you run, it pulls you with it. But if you root your feet, widen your stance, and simply let the water pass, you remain upright. The wave looks strong, but it's temporary. The danger was never the wave. The danger was believing you had to move with it. Your emotions are the same. They rise quickly. They fall quickly. They only take control when you let their speed decide your direction, or think of it like striking a match. The flame appears instantly, hot, bright, urgent. If you drop it, everything burns. But if you hold it just long enough to feel its heat, you gain control of what happens next. The match is not the danger. Reacting too quickly is. This is the heart of emotional self-control, learning to give yourself just enough space to choose instead of collapse, choose instead of attack, choose instead of spiral. And that begins with one simple act. Pause. Pause for 3 seconds. Not 30, not 10, just 3. 3 seconds is enough to interrupt the automatic chain reaction unfolding inside you. It's enough to remind your mind that you are here. It's enough to bring awareness into a space that used to be ruled by instinct. Emotional leadership begins in that tiny doorway, the moment where you don't immediately move with a feeling that tried to grab you. After the pause, you breathe. Slow, calm, intentional breaths. Inhale for 4, hold for 2, exhale for 6. These numbers matter because they tell your body something your mind often forgets. I am safe. When your body believes you are safe, it stops pushing you into survival mode. Your muscles release, your breath softens, your thoughts return. You shift from reacting to observing. Your breath anchors you back into yourself. And once you are anchored, clarity has space to return. Then comes the part most people never do. You name what you feel. You don't analyze it or judge it. You simply name it. I'm angry. I'm hurt. I feel ignored. I feel embarrassed. Naming the emotion doesn't make you weaker. It makes you aware, and when you become aware, you step out of the center of the emotional storm. You are no longer swimming inside it. You are watching it. You are witnessing your own mind instead of drowning in it. Emotion unnamed becomes chaos. Emotion named becomes clarity. The moment you name it, something inside you steadies. The feeling no longer controls your hands, your voice, your tone, your decisions. It becomes information. Information you can work with. Information you can choose from, and choice is where real strength appears. When the surge hits, you ask yourself quietly, what protects my peace right now? What response reflects the person I want to be? What choice keeps my dignity intact? These questions matter because they recenter your identity. They turn your focus away from the trigger and back toward your values. They reshape your attention so you act from your principles instead of your impulses. They bring you back to the version of yourself you trust, the one who doesn't need to win the moment to win the day. Sometimes the right response is silence. Sometimes it's a gentle question. Sometimes it's stepping away. Sometimes it's choosing not to explain yourself. Sometimes it's simply breathing until the wave passes. But whatever you choose, the key is that you chose it. Not the emotion, not the trigger, not your insecurity, not your ego. You. That quiet ownership changes everything. It changes how people perceive you. It changes how conflicts unfold. It changes how stress lands in your body. It changes how you carry yourself through difficult moments. And over time, it changes who you believe yourself to be. Because each time you pause, you reinforce a new identity. Someone who is not controlled by their emotions, but guided by awareness. Someone who doesn't lose themselves in the heat of the moment. Someone who stays rooted, even when the world pulls hard. So ask yourself, when was the last time I reacted instantly and regretted it later? What emotion am I most afraid to face? Anger, shame, fear, or pride? Who would I become if I learned to pause before every reaction, even for 1 second? Sit with your answers. Let them move something inside you. Self-honesty is uncomfortable, but it is also the beginning of mastery. And remember the line that will follow you for the rest of this audiobook. Pause first, power follows. This is where emotional control begins. Not in force, not in suppression, not in pretending you don't feel, but in learning to stand still inside the moment where most people fall apart. When you face the urge to react instead of obeying it, you reclaim the part of yourself that was always yours, the part that chooses, the part that leads, the part that stays. And in a world that moves fast, that kind of stillness is power. Quiet power, steady power. The power of someone who is no longer ruled by the noise inside their own mind. Chapter 2. Let people feel wrong. There is a unique kind of pressure that rises in your chest when someone believes something about you that isn't true. The urge to correct them, to defend yourself, to explain your intentions, to prove your point so the misunderstanding finally ends. But here's the truth you don't hear often. Most of your emotional exhaustion comes from trying to control what people think. You feel it at work when a coworker misreads your tone. You feel it in relationships when someone assumes the worst about you. You feel it on social media, where a stranger's quick judgment can feel like a personal attack. Americans live in a culture where everyone has an opinion, where being misunderstood feels like being misrepresented, and where silence feels like surrender. So you jump in, you clarify, you over-explain, you chase the feeling of being understood, hoping it will give you peace. But it never does. Because peace does not come from convincing others. Peace comes from understanding yourself. The hard reality is this. Some people will misunderstand you even when you explain everything perfectly. Some people will twist your words no matter how gently you speak. Some people don't want clarity. They want to be right. And when you chase their approval or understanding, you lose your center. Your power dissolves when your peace depends on someone else's interpretation of you. That's why letting people feel wrong is emotional strength, not weakness. It doesn't mean you're indifferent. It means you're grounded. It means you're no longer living on the leash of someone else's assumptions. Imagine you're holding a rope, and on the other side is a person pulling hard, trying to drag you into their version of the story. You pull back. They pull harder. The tension grows, the rope burns. This is what happens psychologically when you argue with someone who's committed to misunderstanding you. But the moment you drop the rope, everything changes. The tension disappears, the argument ends, the fight collapses without your resistance. Letting people feel wrong is dropping the rope. Not for them, for you. Because when you stop resisting, you become steady. You stop giving your energy to battles that never produce peace. You allow people to carry their own interpretations without letting those interpretations shake your identity. You protect your emotional clarity before trying to fix someone else's perception. In American culture, where everyone is encouraged to speak, defend, prove, and persuade, choosing not to explain feels like rebellion. But it's not rebellion. It's maturity. It's leadership of the self. It's the quiet recognition that dignity does not require validation. You do not owe an explanation to anyone who has already decided not to understand you. Sometimes, the most powerful response is no response at all. But this doesn't mean you shut down. It means you stay present in yourself instead of getting lost in the emotions of another person. When someone makes a wrong assumption about you, the first feeling that rises is usually frustration or fear. Fear of being judged, misunderstood, misrepresented. That feeling is real, but it is not a command. The impulse to defend yourself shows up fast because being misunderstood threatens your sense of identity. Your mind wants to protect your image. Your ego wants to maintain control. But control built on trying to manage someone else's opinion is an illusion. You cannot control the lens someone chooses to see you through. You can only control the clarity of the person you are. So when that emotional surge hits, take a breath. Let the feeling rise without letting it take over. Stay with it calmly, as if you're watching a wave pass. You do not need to dive in and drown with it. Then you ask yourself quietly, what am I trying to protect right now? Is this worth my energy? Will explaining actually change anything, or will it just drain me? These questions bring awareness to the part of you that wants to remain stable, not reactive. They remind you that your peace matters more than your image, and that image is something no amount of explanation can fully control. If the situation does not require correction, let it go. If the misunderstanding does not harm your integrity, keep moving. If someone's judgment comes from ego, insecurity, or projection, don't carry their weight. If someone misinterprets your silence as guilt or weakness, let them. Their misinterpretation is not your burden. You lead yourself, not their perception of you. There will always be people who look at your calm as avoidance, people who see your silence as surrender, people who assume that if you're not arguing, you must be wrong. They measure strength by noise. But noise is not strength. Noise is insecurity dressed as certainty. Real strength is control. Real strength is clarity. Real strength is choosing when to speak and when to stay grounded. Let them misread you. Let them misunderstand you. Let them think what they think. Their thoughts do not build your life. Your choices do. If there's genuine harm, address it with truth and clarity. But if the moment is just ego against ego, let it pass. You don't need to win the moment to win your peace. Think of how much emotional freedom you would gain if you stopped trying to correct every misunderstanding. Think of how much energy you would reclaim if you stopped rehearsing explanations in your mind. Think of how much calmer your days would feel if you allowed others to carry their own interpretations while you carried only your truth. Ask yourself, why do I feel unsafe when someone gets me wrong? What part of me is trying to protect my image instead of my peace? Who would I become if I stopped trying to manage every opinion around me? Sit with the discomfort those questions reveal. They will show you the gap between who you are and who you want to be. And when the next moment comes, when someone twists your words, assumes the worst, or projects their insecurity onto you, take a breath, anchor yourself, and remember the line that transforms this chapter. Peace over ego. This is not weakness. This is self-command. This is the strength of someone who no longer breaks themselves trying to fix the minds of others. Let people feel wrong. Let people misunderstand. Let people talk and stay rooted in who you know you are. Because the moment you stop chasing explanations, you start choosing freedom. Chapter 3. Sit with tension. There is a moment between feeling and action that almost no one knows how to stay in. The moment of discomfort. The moment when your emotions rise and your instinct pushes you to escape, fix, argue, justify, or shut down. Most people run from that feeling, but running is what keeps them stuck. Tension feels like pressure, and pressure feels like danger. Your chest tightens. Your mind leaps to conclusions. You want relief more than you want truth, but this is the moment, the exact moment, where emotional mastery is born. Not when everything is calm, not when you feel in control, but when something inside you tightens and your entire being wants the moment to end. Here is the truth most people never learn. Tension is not the enemy. Tension is the teacher. Every part of you wants to avoid discomfort. That instinct is ancient, wired into survival. When something feels threatening, Your nervous system activates, preparing your body to move before your mind understands what's happening. This makes tension feel like a problem that must be solved immediately. But emotional tension is not physical danger. It is a signal that you have reached the edge of who you've been, and the edge is where growth happens. But only if you stay long enough to see what the tension is trying to show you. Think about the last time someone made a comment that stung. Your immediate impulse was probably to defend yourself, shut down, or respond sharply. You moved to escape the discomfort instead of sitting with it. You reacted because the tension felt unbearable. But what if you had paused just long enough to notice that the tension wasn't pain? It was insight. What if the tension held the truth you've been avoiding? Imagine holding a snow globe in your hands. Inside, everything is spinning, flakes flying everywhere, impossible to see clearly. That's how your mind feels in moments of tension. But if you simply keep holding it, if you resist the urge to shake it more or put it down, the flakes begin to settle. Slowly, gradually, naturally. Suddenly, the scene becomes clear. Your mind works the same way. Clarity is what happens after you stop running. But clarity cannot reach you if you keep interrupting it with reactions. Americans are conditioned to chase quick comfort as distraction, answers, validation, noise. But comfort is not clarity. Comfort is escape, and escape prevents you from confronting the deeper truths inside you. The discomfort you avoid is the exact discomfort that would set you free if you let yourself feel it fully. So when tension rises, stay. Stay with the breath. Stay with the feeling. Stay with the moment. Sit with the tension instead of feeding it. The reason this is so hard is because tension exposes the parts of yourself you don't want to face. The insecurity beneath your anger, the fear beneath your defensiveness, the vulnerability beneath your silence. When you sit with tension, you see what your reactions are trying to protect. But only awareness can transform what fear tries to hide. This is inner strength, feeling fully without reacting blindly. To develop that strength, you begin with stillness. Not the kind of stillness where nothing happens, but the kind of stillness where everything inside you is loud and you choose not to run from it. When the tension hits, breathe into it, not to calm it, not to remove it, but to witness it. Inhale slowly and feel exactly where the tension sits in your body, your throat, your chest, your stomach. Don't push it away. Let it rise. Let it expand. Let it be uncomfortable. As you breathe, you'll notice something surprising. The feeling changes. It softens. It shifts. It moves. It loses the sharp edge that felt unmanageable a moment ago. This is what happens when you stop resisting. Tension dissolves when you stop feeding it. And in that dissolution, you discover truths you could not see before. Maybe the comment that upset you wasn't disrespect. It touched an old wound you haven't healed. Maybe the argument wasn't about the topic. It triggered a deeper fear of not being heard. Maybe your frustration wasn't about the situation. It came from exhaustion you've been ignoring for months. Tension reveals what avoidance hides. You can only grow in the places where you are willing to be honest. And honesty requires stillness. It requires slowing down enough to hear your own mind without the noise of reaction speaking for you. So when the urge to avoid tension rises, stay. Stay one breath longer than you want to. Stay one moment longer than you think you can. Stay until the wave of discomfort becomes information instead of panic. Ask yourself quietly, what is this tension trying to show me? What part of me is waking up right now? What truth have I been avoiding because it feels uncomfortable? Let the answers arrive slowly. Clarity is never rushed. Clarity is revealed. There is a strength inside you that has nothing to do with how loud you speak or how forcefully you respond. It is the strength of someone who no longer fears their own emotions. Someone who doesn't escape discomfort but learns from it. Someone who builds a deeper kind of resilience, the kind that doesn't crumble under pressure because it was born inside pressure. Picture a tree in a storm. The winds push and pull, bending its branches, shaking its leaves. But the roots stay. They do not move with every gust. They do not panic when the sky darkens. They remain grounded, unshaken, unmoved. That is what it means to sit with tension. You feel the movement without becoming the movement. You experience the storm without losing your roots. People will try to provoke you. Life will challenge you. Your emotions will flare. Discomfort will rise. But when you've learned to sit with tension, nothing pulls you out of yourself. You stop collapsing into emotions that used to swallow you whole. You stop reacting to the surface and start understanding the depth. And once you understand the depth, there is nothing left to fear, because you no longer break when things get hard. You open, you steady, you see. And the person who sees clearly is the person who leads themselves. So remember this truth, the one that anchors this entire chapter. Stay until it teaches you. Tension is not a threat. Tension is a message. Tension is the moment you meet yourself. Not the version you pretend to be, but the version that grows when you stop running. Sit with it. Breathe with it. Learn from it. This is the path to inner strength. This is where emotional mastery begins. Chapter 4. Respect your silence. There is a kind of power that doesn't need volume, a kind of strength that doesn't need explanation, a kind of clarity that rises only when you stop filling every space with words. Silence is not empty. Silence is strategy. Most people fear silence because silence forces them to hear themselves. When a conversation suddenly goes quiet, they rush to speak. When tension builds, they talk to avoid feeling it. When someone challenges them, they fill the air with explanations, defenses, or nervous energy. They believe silence is weakness, that the one who talks more wins. But that belief costs them clarity, dignity, and emotional strength. Silence does not expose you. Silence reveals you. And in a culture that rewards noise, stillness becomes a rare form of power. Think about how many times you've spoken too soon. You felt pressured by the moment, afraid of judgment, uncomfortable with the pause. So you reacted quickly. You said more than you meant to say. You defended yourself when no defense was needed. You apologized when you weren't wrong. You rushed because the silence felt heavy on your skin. But silence is not the weight you think it is. Silence is the breathing space where wisdom enters. When you respect your silence, you stop using words as shields. You stop speaking from fear. You stop reacting from insecurity. You create the space your mind needs to see clearly before you respond. And clarity is what gives your voice weight. Imagine you're holding a glass of muddy water. If you keep shaking it, the water stays cloudy. If you set it down and leave it alone, the dirt settles. The water clears. That's what silence does for your mind. It lets the noise fall to the bottom so the truth can rise to the top. You cannot think clearly while you are speaking constantly. You cannot listen deeply while you are rushing to answer. You cannot lead your emotions while you drown them in words. Silence is where you gather yourself. Silence is where you return to center. Silence is where your next move becomes obvious. Americans live in a fast-paced world that rewards quick talkers, quick responders, and fast opinions. But speed without intention creates chaos. People talk before thinking. They answer before listening. They react before understanding. They fill silence because silence forces honesty, and honesty can be uncomfortable. But silence isn't the place where you lose power. Silence is the place where you claim it. So when someone speaks to you with intensity, pause. Let the words land before you react. When someone tries to provoke you, hold still. Let their energy pass without pulling you into their storm. When a situation shakes you, breathe into the quiet. Let silence form the ground beneath your feet. The moment you stop fearing silence, you become someone other people pay attention to. Your words carry more weight because you don't waste them. Your presence becomes stronger because it's not scattered. Your responses become sharper because they come from intention, not impulse. People respect the person who doesn't rush to fill the room, because that person isn't controlled by the room. But respecting your silence isn't just about conversations. It's about the relationship you have with your inner world. When something hurts you, silence gives you space to understand the wound before reacting from it. When anxiety rises, silence lets you see the fear without letting it become your identity. When anger flares, silence allows you to feel the heat without letting it control your actions. Silence helps you meet yourself before you meet the world. Sit in a quiet room for 1 minute, and you'll notice how loud your mind actually is. You'll feel the emotions you've avoided. You'll hear the thoughts you've been running from. You'll face the parts of yourself that noise has been hiding. It's uncomfortable at first, but necessary. The discomfort is not a threat. It is a doorway into deeper understanding, and once you learn to sit in your own silence, you stop requiring others to validate or soothe you. You become emotionally self-sufficient. You become grounded. You become someone who doesn't lose their voice trying to prove who they are. When conflict arises, silence helps you hear the truth beneath the emotion. When someone disrespects you, silence gives you the power to respond with clarity instead of anger. When life feels overwhelming, silence allows your nervous system to settle so you can think clearly again. Some will misinterpret your silence. They'll think you're unsure. They'll think you're weak. They'll think you're retreating. Let them. Their interpretation is not your responsibility. Silence is not retreat. Silence is restraint, and restraint is a form of mastery. Ask yourself, why do I rush to fill quiet moments? What am I afraid I'll hear if I stop talking? Who would I become if I let silence guide my reactions instead of fear guiding my words? These questions matter because they reveal how much of your life has been shaped not by what you truly wanted to say, but by what you said to avoid discomfort. And you deserve better than that. You deserve to hear yourself clearly. You deserve to respond from strength, not panic. You deserve to choose your words instead of spilling them. When you respect your silence, you stop handing your emotions the microphone. You stop letting tension dictate your tone. You stop letting insecurity rush your decisions. You begin to move with intention. Slow, steady, deliberate. And this is the moment when everything changes. Because the person who is comfortable with silence is the person who is in control of themselves. Silence is not weakness. Silence is wisdom. Respect it. Use it. Return to it. Let it shape the strength you carry into every moment of your life. Chapter 5. Notice when pride speaks. There is a moment in conflict that almost everyone misses. The moment when your pride steps forward before your clarity does. It happens fast, it sounds righteous, and it feels like self-protection. But it's not protection. It's self-sabotage dressed as strength. Pride rises when you feel threatened, not physically, but emotionally. When your identity, your worth, or your credibility feels questioned. In American culture, where self-image and independence are deeply valued, pride shows up quickly because it believes it is your shield. It wants to defend you. It wants to speak for you. It wants to protect your sense of self, but pride doesn't protect your peace. Pride protects your ego, and the ego, when left unexamined, will push you into battles you never needed to fight. Think of moments when a simple comment felt like an attack. Someone corrected you, and suddenly you felt the need to prove you were right. Someone offered feedback, and instead of listening, you felt judged. Someone didn't acknowledge your effort, and your chest tightened with resentment. Beneath every one of those reactions was the quiet voice of pride saying, "You cannot let this stand." But here's the truth. Pride reacts. Wisdom chooses. Pride convinces you that reacting fast makes you strong, but true strength doesn't rush. True strength observes. True strength responds with clarity, not impulse. And clarity cannot reach you if pride is speaking first. Picture your ego as a guard dog. Loyal but untrained. Any sound, any movement, any perceived threat, and it barks loudly. It barks to appear strong, not because danger is real. But if you let that dog control your reactions, you'll spend your life barking at shadows. Emotional maturity means training the dog, not letting it drag you into every fight. Pride amplifies small things. Pride takes a moment and turns it into a battle. And most importantly, pride blocks truth. When pride speaks, you stop listening. When pride is loud, learning becomes impossible. Pride builds walls where connection could exist. It builds tension where peace could live. It creates enemies out of people who were never against you. This is why you must learn to notice the exact second pride enters the conversation. Not to eliminate it, but to recognize it. Not to shame it, but to understand it. Not to suppress it, but to prevent it from choosing for you. When someone challenges you, pause. Feel the tight heat in your chest. Feel the pressure to defend yourself. Feel the rising urge to prove your point. That sensation, that surge, is pride stepping forward. Don't run from it. Don't act on it. Just notice it. Awareness interrupts pride's automatic grip. Now breathe. Let the breath soften the edges of the moment. When you breathe slowly, your ego loses urgency. When your ego loses urgency, your clarity has room to return. And once clarity returns, you see something pride never wants you to see. Most conflicts aren't about right or wrong. They're about feeling unseen, unheard, or unvalued. Pride tries to fix that by controlling the situation. But control is not the solution. Presence is. Awareness is. Truth is. And truth is quiet, patient, steady. Ask yourself gently, am I defending my values or am I defending my ego? What do I lose if I don't respond right now? Is my reaction coming from clarity or from the need to be right? These questions shift the power back to you. They shine light on the motives beneath your reactions. They remind you that peace and correctness are not the same thing. They reveal the difference between protecting your principles and protecting your pride. Pride wants to win the moment. Wisdom wants to win your life. The people who stay calm in conflict, the ones who choose their words carefully, the ones who don't take every challenge as an attack. Those are the ones who live with emotional freedom. They're not controlled by someone else's tone. They're not triggered by someone else's insecurity. They don't chase validation. They don't fear being misunderstood. They speak only when speaking serves truth, not when it serves ego. Imagine how different your relationships would feel if pride didn't speak first. Imagine how much calmer your days would be. Imagine how much energy you would save. Imagine how many arguments would disappear before they even began. That is the power of noticing. When pride rises, you observe it. When ego pushes, you breathe. When the moment demands reaction, you wait. And in that waiting, you become someone new, someone stronger, someone clearer, someone grounded. You begin to realize you don't need to prove your worth. You don't need to defend every detail. You don't need to fight for recognition. What is true doesn't need force. What is real doesn't need convincing. What is rooted doesn't need noise. Let others think you yielded. Let them think you stepped back. Let them think you didn't fight hard enough. Your peace is worth more than their interpretation. When you notice pride, you choose presence instead of protection. You choose clarity instead of defensiveness. You choose dignity instead of noise. You choose the long-term version of yourself, the one who grows instead of reacts. Ask yourself one last question. Who am I when pride is silent? That is the real you. the steady you, the you that is not shaped by fear of being wrong, but by the strength of staying true. And when that version of you leads the moment, everything changes. Drop the pride, keep the clarity. Chapter 6. Build space between feeling and action. There is a distance inside you that decides everything. The space between what you feel and what you do. Most people don't know this space exists. They live pressed against their emotions, reacting the moment something touches their nerves. But every mistake you regret, every argument that escalated too quickly, every moment you lost control, it all happened because the space disappeared. When you don't have space, feelings become commands, anger becomes action, fear becomes retreat, insecurity becomes over-explaining, shame becomes withdrawal, and pride becomes attack. You start moving as if your emotions are driving you instead of passing through you. You mistake urgency for clarity. You mistake impulse for truth. You mistake reaction for strength. But emotional maturity begins here. Space saves you. Space is where your choices live. Space is where your clarity returns. Space is where your identity stands separate from your reactions. Without space, you repeat the same patterns. With space, you rewrite them. Think of how many times you've looked back and said, "I should have waited," or "I didn't mean to say it like that," or "I wish I had paused before responding." Those moments weren't failures. They were warnings. They were reminders that you moved too fast for your wisdom to catch up. They showed you what happens when your feelings and your actions sit too close together. When something triggers you, your nervous system fires instantly, releasing tension, heat, adrenaline. Your mind interprets the physical signal as an emotional truth. And because it all happens in a fraction of a second, you feel compelled to act. But urgency is often a lie your body tells your brain. Not because the emotion is fake, but because the emotion is not the full story. Space gives you the rest of the story. Imagine watching a movie with your face pressed 1 inch from the screen. Everything is blurry, overwhelming, chaotic. But if you simply step back, the image becomes clear. Nothing changed in the movie. Only your distance changed. That distance is emotional space. When you step back from your feelings, the situation becomes readable instead of explosive. So, how do you build that space? You begin with pause. The simplest, smallest interruption in the world, but the most powerful. When the emotion rises, you pause. Not for a long time. Just long enough to feel yourself standing there. Just long enough to keep the moment from swallowing you. Just long enough to avoid letting your body decide your future for you. Pause is the first breath of space. Then you breathe. Slowly. Deliberately. Without trying to change the emotion, only to create distance from it. Your breath becomes the ground beneath your feet. It slows your nervous system. It separates the sensation from the story you're telling yourself. It reminds your mind that you're safe enough to choose rather than react. Your breath teaches your body that urgency isn't danger. It's just a feeling. And once the breath brings you back into yourself, you name the emotion. I'm angry. I'm overwhelmed. I feel dismissed. I feel threatened. I feel exposed. Naming the feeling is like turning on a light in a dark room. Suddenly, the shape of the moment becomes visible. You see what is happening instead of becoming it. You see the emotion without merging with it. And in that separation, space expands. This is where choice enters. Not the choice to be calm, not the choice to pretend you don't care. The choice to respond from truth instead of reaction. Ask yourself quietly, what response aligns with who I want to be? What action will matter tomorrow, not just soothe me right now? Does this emotion need expression, or does it need time? Questions like these widen the space even more. They pull your awareness into the future instead of trapping you in the heat of the moment. They help you answer the only question that truly matters. Who is in control? The feeling or me? Space protects the version of you that thinks clearly. Space protects the version of you that stays grounded. Space protects the version of you that doesn't collapse under pressure. Without space, the world controls you. With space, you lead yourself. Think of a firefighter entering a burning building. The heat is real, the danger is real, but they move slowly, deliberately, with awareness. Rushing would kill them. Stillness saves them. The same is true inside you. When your emotions ignite, rushing pulls you deeper into the fire. Space gives you room to breathe, room to think, room to survive the moment without losing yourself. People around you will feel the difference. They will notice your stillness. They will feel your steadiness. They will sense that you are not easily pushed or provoked. You stop looking like someone who reacts to the world and start looking like someone who shapes the world inside themselves. And that is a rare kind of leadership, quiet, steady, unshakable. But building space is not a one-time skill. It is a practice, a discipline, a daily act of choosing awareness over impulse. Every annoyance becomes an opportunity. Every comment becomes a test. Every trigger becomes training. You build space the same way you build muscle. Repetition, patience, presence. Each pause adds another inch. Each breath adds another layer. Each moment of awareness adds another boundary. Over time, the space inside you becomes so strong that your emotions lose their ability to override your identity. You stop being carried by waves. You stop being thrown by storms. You stop living on the edge of reaction. You begin to move from purpose. You begin to act from clarity. You begin to live with intention instead of instinct. Ask yourself now, when was the last time I acted before I understood what I was feeling? What pattern keeps repeating because I don't create enough space? How would my life change if I paused before every reaction? Let those answers reveal the places where you are still too close to your emotions, the places where space needs to grow. And when the next wave hits, remember the truth that anchors this chapter. Create space. Regain power. Space is the difference between reacting and responding. Space is the difference between chaos and clarity. Space is the difference between the person you've been and the person you're becoming. Hold the space. Protect the space. Live in the space. That is where your power begins. Chapter 7. Stop chasing control over others. There comes a point in your life when you realize something quietly devastating. You cannot control other people, only your response to them. Most people spend years, even decades, trying to manage how others behave, speak, think, react, or feel. They want the apology. They want the acknowledgement. They want the other person to change in a way that finally gives them peace. They live their days waiting for someone else to behave correctly so they can finally relax inside their own skin. But that day rarely comes, and the waiting becomes a kind of prison. You've felt it. When someone disappoints you and you replay the moment 100 times. When someone behaves unfairly and you wish you could force them to understand. When someone hurts you and you can't move on because they should know better. When someone reacts badly and you feel the urge to fix their emotion before they fix their behavior. This is the trap. The illusion that controlling others will give you inner freedom. But freedom cannot come from force. Freedom comes from letting go. People act based on their experiences, wounds, insecurities, habits, fears, beliefs. None of these are things you can control. And the more you try, the more powerless you feel. Because every attempt to control someone else pulls you further away from the only place where real influence exists. Yourself. Trying to control others is how you lose control of yourself. Think about the moments when someone's behavior consumed your thoughts, You rewrote conversations in your mind. You analyzed every detail. You tried to predict what they'd do next. You tried to influence how they'd respond. And in trying to control them, you surrendered your peace, your attention, your energy. You handed them the steering wheel to your inner world. But here is the truth most people avoid facing. You don't seek control because you're strong. You seek control because you feel unsafe. You try to control others when you fear uncertainty, when their unpredictability threatens your emotional balance, when their choices make you feel exposed, when their reactions touch wounds you haven't healed. Control becomes your way of building false safety, a mental shield that never really works. Because no matter how tightly you hold, people will still do what they do. So instead of forcing, you begin noticing. You notice the moment your body tightens because you want someone to act differently. You notice the moment your thoughts race because you want someone to understand you. You notice the moment your anger rises because someone refuses to change. This awareness creates distance, and in that distance, clarity arrives. Most of the pain you feel in relationships doesn't come from what someone did. It comes from the expectation that they should do differently. You suffer not from their action, but from the belief that you can control it. When you let go of that belief, you let go of the suffering attached to it. Imagine standing on a dock trying to pull a boat toward you with your bare hands. The rope burns, your muscles shake, your arms ache. But no matter how hard you pull, the current carries the boat in its own direction. You can exhaust yourself, or you can accept what has always been true. The boat has its own path, and your peace depends on loosening your grip. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. Letting go means you stop drowning. You can still speak your truth. You can still set boundaries. You can still walk away from what harms you. You can still choose what you tolerate. But these actions come from clarity, not control. Letting go of control frees you from the emotional roller coaster of other people's choices. It allows you to focus on what actually belongs to you. Your values, your behavior, your reactions, your standards, your healing. You begin to ask different questions. What can I choose in this moment? What can I accept without breaking? What can I walk away from with dignity? What part of this situation is truly mine to carry? These questions shift you out of victimhood and into ownership. They remind you that peace is not something someone gives you. It is something you build inside yourself. When someone lashes out, you choose calm. When someone withdraws, you choose patience. When someone refuses accountability, you choose boundaries. When someone misunderstands you, you choose self-respect. When someone tries to provoke you, you choose silence or clarity, not chaos. You stop mirroring other people's emotional storms. You stop letting their instability become yours. You stop interpreting their reactions as proof of your worth. And in doing so, you become someone incredibly powerful. Someone who can stand steady in situations that used to shake them. Someone who doesn't bend under pressure. Someone who leads themselves even when others lose themselves. This is emotional independence. And it is one of the rarest forms of strength. People might call you detached. Let them. People might say you don't care enough. Let them. People might think you've changed. They're right. You've stopped making your peace dependent on someone else's behavior. You've stopped allowing other people's chaos to write the script of your day. You've stopped negotiating your emotional stability with people who never earned that power. And once you reach this level of clarity, something remarkable happens. You no longer fear people's reactions. You no longer walk on emotional eggshells. You no longer try to manage every situation. You no longer lose yourself trying to fix others. You become grounded, not grasping. Aligned, not reactive. Free, not fearful. Ask yourself now, whose behavior am I trying to control? What emotional safety am I trying to create through force? What peace would return to me if I stopped trying to manage someone else's reactions? Sit with these questions. Let them reveal the places where you've been fighting a battle that was never yours. And when the next moment arrives, the moment when someone behaves unpredictably, unfairly, or emotionally, remember the truth that anchors this chapter. Choose you, not their behavior. Because the moment you stop chasing control over others, you finally gain control over yourself. Chapter 8. Choose not to explain yourself. There is a moment in every person's life when they realize something quietly painful. They have spent years explaining themselves to people who never intended to understand them. Explaining your worth, explaining your boundaries, explaining your decisions, explaining your silence, explaining your pain, and each explanation leaves you emptier than before. Because behind every explanation is the fear that without it, you won't be respected, believed, or valued. You try to manage how others see you. You try to control their narrative of you. You try to make them understand something that only you were meant to hold. But here is the truth most people never hear. You do not owe anyone an explanation for your peace. Not everyone deserves access to the reasons behind your choices. Not everyone earns the right to understand you. Not everyone is capable of hearing your truth with respect. And yet, you've been conditioned, especially in American culture, to explain everything, to justify your no, to defend your boundaries, to prove your intentions, to make your pain palatable and your choices acceptable. You've been taught that silence equals guilt, that saying less means hiding something, and that clarity must always be earned through words. But silence is not guilt. Silence is dignity. Explaining yourself often feels like connection, but it's usually emotional self-defense. You hope your explanation will protect you from judgment. You hope it will soften someone's opinion. You hope it will prevent conflict, but people who want to misunderstand you will misunderstand you even with all the details. And people who respect you won't need your explanation to treat you with decency. Your explanation cannot fix someone else's lens. Think about the last time you over-explained. You felt that familiar anxiety rising, so you tried to calm it by giving more information, more justification, more context. But did it help? Or did it make you feel exposed, drained, and somehow even less understood? Most times, over-explaining does not bring clarity. It brings self-betrayal, because every unnecessary explanation tells your nervous system, I need permission to be myself. And you don't. You truly don't. Imagine holding a fragile object in your hands while someone keeps demanding, show me, prove to me, convince me. Every time you open your hands to explain, you risk dropping what matters most to you. But when you keep your hands closed, when you protect what's fragile, you preserve your inner world instead of negotiating it. Your peace is that fragile object. Hold it with intention. Hold it with respect. Hold it without justification. Choosing not to explain does not mean you become cold or distant. It means you become grounded. It means you no longer hand out pieces of your inner world to people who do not handle them with care. It means you trust yourself enough to let others think what they think. Let them think you're too quiet. Let them think you're too firm. Let them think you should speak more. Let them think you owe them something. You don't. Your decisions are allowed to be private. Your boundaries are allowed to be firm. Your intuition is allowed to guide you without permission slips. And your silence is allowed to be your answer. Ask yourself, am I explaining to connect or explaining to be approved? Is this explanation for clarity or for validation? What part of me feels unsafe unless I justify myself? These questions matter because they reveal the hidden fear beneath over-explaining, the fear of being misunderstood. But being misunderstood is not dangerous. It is human. And not everyone will understand you, no matter how carefully you explain. Your job is not to shrink your truth until it fits someone else's comfort. Your job is to live in alignment with who you are. Imagine standing in front of a locked door. Behind it is your inner world, your values, your emotions, your decisions. Every time you explain yourself unnecessarily, you open that door a little too wide. You let someone step inside who was never meant to be there. Emotional maturity is learning when to open the door and when to keep it closed. You do not protect your truth by giving it away. You protect it by choosing who hears it. When someone demands an explanation purely to challenge you, stay silent. When someone twists your words, let them live with the version they chose. When someone tries to guilt you into justification, breathe instead of reacting. When someone wants you to explain what your soul already knows, walk away. Your truth is not a debate. Your boundaries are not up for negotiation. Your decisions are not public property. And the moment you stop explaining yourself to everyone, something powerful happens inside you. Your confidence strengthens, your voice deepens, your presence solidifies, your worth stops fluctuating with someone else's opinion. You become someone who speaks only when speaking matters. You become someone who acts from clarity, not anxiety. You become someone whose silence carries more weight than other people's noise. Some will misinterpret your silence as arrogance. Let them. Some will label it weakness. Let them. Some will assume you don't care. Let them. Because the truth is simple, you don't need to explain a decision that protects your peace, and the people who truly see you won't require explanations. They'll feel the integrity behind your actions without needing every detail. So the next time you feel that familiar pull, the urge to justify, prove, defend, or apologize for simply being who you are, pause. Breathe. Let the tension rise without obeying it, and then choose yourself by choosing silence. Hold your truth. Protect your peace, and let the world think what it thinks. Less talk, more peace. Chapter 9. Hold your energy. There is a kind of exhaustion that sleep cannot fix, the kind that comes from giving your emotional energy to things that never deserved it. Arguments that went nowhere, people who drained you without giving anything back, situations you replayed 100 times, even though the outcome never changed. This is the exhaustion of a life lived in constant reaction. And the truth is simple. Your energy is your power, and most of it leaks quietly. You don't lose energy only through hard work or stress. You lose it through overthinking, through carrying emotions that aren't yours, through giving attention to people who don't respect it, through worrying about outcomes you can't control. Energy leaks in silence, one small moment at a time. Think about the last time someone frustrated you. You felt the tension rise, and even after the moment passed, you kept thinking about it. You carried their emotion long after they forgot the conversation. You gave them space in your mind, your body, your day. That is how energy drains. Not in explosions, but in slow, constant drips of attention. Your energy follows your focus, and whatever steals your focus steals your life. The problem is that most people don't realize how valuable their energy truly is. They give it away freely, to drama, to negativity, to gossip, to imagined scenarios, to people who mistake their kindness for availability. They don't see energy as a resource that must be protected, but it is. Your energy is your currency. Your energy is your clarity. Your energy is your ability to stay grounded in yourself. And if you don't hold your energy, life will feel heavier than it needs to be. Imagine carrying a backpack filled with weights you didn't choose. Every time someone irritates you, there's a new weight. Every time you replay a conversation, another weight. Every time you try to fix someone's emotions, another weight. Eventually you collapse under the heaviness. Not because you're weak, but because you're carrying what was never yours. Holding your energy starts with recognizing what drains it. Usually it's not the big things, it's the small, constant openings. A thought that spirals, a comment that lingers, a tone that hooks your insecurity, a responsibility you were never meant to carry. When you hold your energy, you become aware of these openings. You see where your attention is leaking, and you close the spaces gently but firmly. This is emotional discipline. The discipline of not giving every trigger access to your inner world. One of the most powerful ways to hold your energy is to stop responding instantly. Not every message deserves an immediate answer. Not every emotion demands a reaction. Not every opinion deserves your clarity. Not every provocation deserves your presence. Your attention is a gift. Treat it like one. When something tries to pull you into negativity, pause. Feel the pull. Feel the urge to engage, defend, argue, or correct. Then breathe. That breath is your boundary. It is the separator between what pulls you and what you choose. The more you practice this, the more you realize how much power you've given away in the past. Not through action, but through attention. Ask yourself, how many hours of my life have I spent thinking about things that didn't matter? How many days have I lost by replaying moments that were already over? How many versions of myself have I sacrificed just to manage someone else's chaos? Let these questions open your awareness. Awareness is the beginning of protection. Holding your energy is not about shutting people out. It's about not abandoning yourself for them. It's the moment you realize you can listen without absorbing. You can care without carrying. You can be present without being drained. You can observe without being pulled in. This is emotional sovereignty. Staying in your own lane, inside your own body, inside your own breath. Some people will misunderstand this shift. They'll think you've become distant. They'll say you've changed. They'll interpret your boundaries as coldness. Let them think that. They don't understand that conservation is not coldness. Conservation is survival. Conservation is respect. Conservation is clarity. Protect what powers you. Picture a candle in a windy room. The flame flickers, struggling to stay alive. The wind doesn't extinguish it at once. It weakens it slowly. But place a glass around the candle, and the flame grows steady again. That glass is your boundary. That glass is what holding your energy looks like. You're not blocking life out. You're protecting your inner flame so it can burn brighter. In every conversation, every conflict, every challenge, every moment of tension, you ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Is this mine to carry? Does this drain me or strengthen me? What will this cost me emotionally? These questions are your compass. They point you back to center. They help you decide what deserves access and what deserves distance. You start noticing the people who leave you empty. You start noticing the conversations that steal your clarity. You start noticing the habits that drain your strength. You start noticing the triggers that hijack your focus. And then you make the quiet, powerful choice to protect your energy before protecting anything else. The more you do this, the stronger you feel. The clearer you become, the calmer your days feel. Your mind stops racing, your heart stops tightening, your reactions become slower, intentional, grounded. You begin living on your terms instead of being pulled by every emotion in the room. Holding your energy is how you step into the highest version of yourself, the version that moves with intention, not impulse, the version that chooses peace over chaos. The version that knows presence is more valuable than proving anything. Ask yourself now, what would my life feel like if I stopped giving my energy to what drains me? What kind of person would I become if my attention belonged to me again? What strength would appear if I protected my inner world the way I protect everything else? Let your answers guide you. Let your awareness ground you. And remember the truth that defines this chapter. Guard your energy like gold. Because once you stop leaking energy into places that don't deserve it, you start becoming someone unstoppable. someone who moves through life with a quiet force that rises from within, not from the world around you. Chapter 10. Lead yourself first. There is a moment in every transformation where you realize something profound. If you don't lead yourself, your emotions will. Most people spend their lives reacting to pressure, to stress, to conflict, to expectations, to the behavior of others. They let circumstances set their tone. They let moods decide their choices. They let discomfort steer their actions. Without noticing it, they become followers of their own impulses, drifting in whatever direction their emotions push them. But leadership doesn't begin with leading others. Leadership begins with leading yourself. Leading yourself means guiding your reactions instead of being guided by them. It means choosing your behavior consciously, not automatically. It means staying rooted in your values even when your feelings try to pull you away from them. It means becoming the stabilizing force inside your own life instead of waiting for something external to give you clarity. And this truth is simple. Your emotions don't get to be the leader unless you hand them the position. Think of every moment you lost control, the sharp tone, the quick anger, the defensive reaction, the shutdown, the emotional spiral. In each moment, something inside you took the wheel. You didn't choose, you didn't guide, you didn't lead. You followed the strongest feeling in the room. And that feeling came from inside you. Leading yourself means taking that wheel back. But it starts in a quiet place, long before you ever speak or act. It starts with awareness, noticing the rise of emotion without surrendering to it. It starts with stillness, the ability to pause even when everything inside you wants movement. It starts with clarity, understanding what you value more than your impulse. And above all, it starts with responsibility. Not responsibility for what others do, but responsibility for who you choose to be. Imagine yourself standing in the middle of a storm. The wind is violent, the rain is relentless, the noise is overwhelming. You cannot stop the storm, you cannot calm the sky, you cannot change the environment around you. But you can plant your feet, you can steady your breath, you can remain grounded while everything swirls around you. That is what leading yourself looks like. Unshaken even when the world tries to shake you. Most people believe leadership is about strength, but real leadership is about stability. And stability begins within. It begins when you stop reacting from the first emotion that hits you. It begins when you choose patience instead of panic. It begins when you respond from clarity instead of fear. It begins when you slow down enough to hear your own wisdom. Ask yourself honestly, how many times have I acted in ways that betrayed who I want to be? How often have I let the moment pull me out of myself? What would my life look like if I guided my emotions instead of obeying them? These are not small questions. They are the foundation of self-leadership. Leading yourself first means discipline. Not the harsh discipline of punishment, but the quiet discipline of consistency. It means doing the internal work even when no one is watching. It means choosing emotional maturity, even when immaturity feels easier. It means practicing stillness even when your instinct wants to run. Self-leadership is a daily practice, not a moment of bravery, a lifestyle of awareness. You lead yourself when you pause before sending a message that anger wrote for you. You lead yourself when you choose silence over arguments that go nowhere. You lead yourself when you breathe through a trigger instead of exploding from it. You lead yourself when you walk away from battles that drain your spirit. You lead yourself when you choose dignity over impulse. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, you begin to change. Your reactions soften, your presence deepens, your decisions sharpen, your confidence strengthens. People will feel the difference. They'll sense your steadiness. They'll respond to your calm. They'll respect your restraint, because the world trusts those who trust themselves. And trust is built inside you long before it reaches anyone else. Leading yourself first also means accepting your emotional truth, not suppressing it, not denying it, not running from it, but acknowledging it without letting it rule your behavior. You can feel anger without becoming anger. You can feel fear without acting from fear. You can feel insecurity without collapsing into it. Self-leadership doesn't remove emotion. It reframes it. I feel this, but I choose my response. That sentence is emotional freedom. That sentence is self-respect. That sentence is the essence of leadership. You do not need to conquer your emotions. You need to guide them. You do not need to eliminate your triggers. You need to pause long enough to see them clearly. You do not need to control every moment. You need to control your presence within the moment. Ask yourself, what version of myself do I want leading my life? Do I want my impulses to lead, or my principles? Do I want temporary emotions to make permanent decisions? These questions anchor your identity. They bring focus back to what you stand for, not what you feel for a moment. Because moments are temporary, but the person you choose to be, that is lasting. And once you begin leading yourself first, something powerful happens inside you. Your reactions no longer define you. Your emotions no longer intimidate you. Your past no longer controls you. Your fear no longer dictates your choices. You become someone who moves with intention, someone who stays calm in pressure, someone who speaks with clarity, someone who carries themselves like they know where they are going, even when the path is unclear. This is the core truth of the entire journey. Lead yourself first, and everything else follows. Life becomes simpler, relationships become clearer, conflict becomes calmer, decisions become easier. Because you're no longer fighting the world, you're guiding yourself through it. And the person who guides themselves is the person who cannot be controlled by chaos. The person who cannot be manipulated by emotion. The person who cannot be broken by pressure. Self-leadership is not a destination, it is a daily choice. Lead yourself in the small moments. Lead yourself through discomfort. Lead yourself through triggers. Lead yourself through silence. Because the moment you lead yourself first, you step into a life where your power no longer comes from control, but from clarity. And clarity is what makes you unshakable. The moment you become yourself. If you've made it here, something in you has shifted. Not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly, steadily, in the place where real change begins. You are no longer the person who reacts without thinking. You are no longer the person pulled by every emotion in the room. You are no longer at the mercy of someone else's tone, behavior, or chaos. You've started the work of reclaiming your mind, and that work shows. You feel it in the pauses you now create. You feel it in the breaths you slow down intentionally. You feel it in the moments you choose silence instead of escalation. You feel it in the new strength rising from the inside out. What you've done through these chapters is simple but extraordinary. You've learned how to lead your emotions instead of being led by them. You've built the ability to stay when tension rises. You've learned to soften when pride tries to speak first. You've recognized where your energy was leaking and closed the openings. You've stopped trying to control others and started mastering yourself. You've chosen clarity over noise, truth over impulse, presence over pressure. This is not small, this is not easy, this is not common. This is emotional mastery, the kind most people never touch in their entire lives. And yet, here you are, stronger, quieter, clearer, more intentional, more yourself. You've learned the difference between reacting and responding, between survival mode and leadership. You've learned that the first emotion is not the truth, that silence is not weakness, that space is not distance, and that peace is not something given to you, but something built inside you. You've learned to sit with discomfort without breaking. You've learned to let others feel wrong without losing your dignity. You've learned to protect your energy like something sacred. You've learned to lead yourself in moments when the world demanded reaction. And now, you stand at the threshold of something rare. A life that is not ruled by emotional storms, but guided by emotional clarity. Maybe for the first time, you can feel your power. Not the loud power of force, but the quiet power of awareness. Real strength is the ability to feel deeply without losing yourself. And you've begun to build that strength. But remember this, mastery is not a final destination. It is a practice, a way of moving through the world, a way of coming back to yourself again and again, no matter how loud life gets. There will be days when you fall back into old patterns, days when you speak too quickly, days when your emotions get ahead of you, days when silence feels too heavy to hold. Those days don't mean you've lost your progress. They mean you are human. And humans learn through repetition. Every pause will strengthen you, every breath will ground you, every moment of restraint will clarify you. Every time you choose calm over chaos, you rewrite who you are becoming. You don't need perfection, you need consistency. Choose one moment a day to practice awareness. Choose one situation a day to practice restraint. Choose one trigger a day to breathe through instead of reacting to. These small acts are what transform a life. Because emotional mastery is not built in grand breakthroughs. It's built in quiet decisions. The decision to wait one more second. The decision to say one less sentence. The decision to let one misunderstanding pass. The decision to walk away from one argument that doesn't serve you. The decision to choose dignity when ego begs for attention. These are the moments that make you powerful. Not powerful over others, powerful over yourself. And self-power is the only power that lasts. You may not notice it right away, but the people around you will. They will feel the steadiness in you. They will sense the grounded presence you carry. They will see a person who cannot be manipulated by chaos or shaken by pressure. A person who chooses their words. A person who guards their peace. A person who leads their own mind. This is who you are becoming. Little by little, breath by breath, choice by choice. So take a moment now and acknowledge the version of yourself who arrived here. The one who is tired of reacting, tired of repeating old patterns, tired of living at the mercy of emotions. The one who wants more. More clarity, more peace, more intention, more depth, more self-respect. That version of you is the one leading your transformation. And the transformation has already begun. Before you go, carry this truth with you. The pause is not the end of the moment. It is the beginning of your power. When you pause, you see. When you see, you choose. When you choose, you lead. And when you lead yourself, you become unstoppable. No one can take this from you. Not circumstances, not triggers, not fear, not other people's behavior. This is yours, your awareness, your clarity, your silence, your boundaries, your energy, your leadership, your life. You have reclaimed the space between feeling and action. You have taken ownership of your inner world. You have stepped into a level of emotional strength that most people never reach. And not because you learned how to avoid emotion, but because you learned how to face it without losing yourself. This is the start of a new chapter for you. Not in this book, but in your life. A chapter written not by reaction, but by intention. A chapter shaped not by chaos, but by clarity. A chapter lived not in fear, but in consciousness. You are not the person you were when you started listening. You are steadier now, quieter now, stronger now, more yourself now. And this version of you, the grounded one, the centered one, the aware one, is the version that will lead your life forward. Power is not reacting. Power is choosing, and you are ready.